What's up, everybody? It is I, Sigma, and we are back with episode 55 of the BBET GamesCast. I'm joined by Mr. Gamer.
Hello there.
As well as Blue Bones.
It's your boy. What's going on, everybody?
Jeff is out on assignment. I don't know what assignment, but he's out on it. So hopefully we'll see him sometime next week.
Yeah. The Justice League called him up and said they need him to handle an Omega level threat.
Oh, snap.
So, as we always do, we'll get things started with what we've been playing / watching for the week. Anyone want to go first? I don't mind.
I do.
Go right ahead.
It's really short. So I finished. So I finally finished I Love You, Colonel Sanders.
Okay.
Oh.
And
How was that?
It was the best advertisement I had ever had in my life. And I want some KFC.
Wow.
You want some KFC?
I'm not kidding you.
Are you normally like a KFC fan? Because I'm not. I don't really like KFC versus other chicken places.
I like Popeyes.
Right.
I like Popeyes more, but Popeyes didn't release a dating sim.
That's true. That's very true.
I think McDonald's had a D&D campaign, or was it Burger King that had one of those two had a
Burger King.
Well, Burger King definitely released like a bunch at least 3 or 4 360 games. Yeah.
Right, Pocket Bike Racer.
Yeah, Sneak King.
Yeah,
King, I remember that one.
Oh my goodness.
Not a good game. It was a good.
It was all the King. Also was like a ring buddy in like Fight Night Round 2.
What?
On X, you remember like the boxes would come out, they would have people in their corner, and like the Burger King was one. Y'all don't remember this?
Yes, I
dope,
do.
bro.
Oh my goodness.
I might have to go look at that again.
It was mad silly.
Oh my. Okay, so there was I Love You, Colonel Sanders, and then there's another game that a friend of mine has slowly been telling me more about. World of Tanks Blitz.
Isn't that free to play
Really?
tank game? Like
Yes.
it's super popular. I know that much, but I've never had an interest in it.
I knew nothing about it, and a friend of mine that I play Fallout with, he was not paying attention and got killed by a Scorch Beast, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm playing with Tub. I'm like, you're playing who? I'm sorry, World of Tanks Blitz. I'm like, oh.
It's an awful acronym.
It is.
Oh my god, she said what tub?
Yes.
That's terrible.
That is really bad.
Even if it was like Wattby, that's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
But
what
Tub?
That is awful.
Yes.
Throwing a U in there.
Yes.
Okay.
So I just started
Gotta
playing
make
it. It is. I see why people like it. Like it does. Like, and I don't like tanks at all, but I do love strategy. And this game is a lot. This game is a lot of strategy because apparently the developers try to make the tanks as realistic as possible. So, there is a bullet drop off or shell drop off. Different parts of your tank have different armor, and sometimes and it's just on your phone and it's free, and I could just play a few rounds or whatever. Now, mind you,
What kind of gameplay are we looking at?
we're looking at so it'll mimic the top your phone like a controller. So the right will be to turn, and then the left will be to like strafe, and you have different ammunition that you can put in your tank. Not all tanks are built the same. Some tanks are really fast. Some tanks can't rotate 180 degrees.
Okay.
Some of it's significantly detailed than I can explain right now, but I would very, very, very clearly state this game is heavy when it comes to the microtransactions. Like,
makes sense.
Heavy.
Yeah. I mean, with the free-to-play game that sounds as intense as you're saying, I wouldn't doubt that at all. But I guess my question earlier was more like, what kind of game modes are you doing? You doing 1v1s? You doing? Like a MOBA type of thing?
Yeah. So think of it's either team deathmatch or capture the point.
Okay.
How many people on?
But
how big are your
like
teams?
6 to 10.
6 to 10.
Yes,
Wow.
tanks. And so there's 10 tanks on each side. You have some going out doing recon, and you'll have another tank expose the camo of another tank, and then you have your big like heavy gunner tank sniper just
That actually does sound fun.
That sounds interesting.
It
Imagine
is because it's like you don't have to be like the tank that does the most damage. Like I think the tanks that I go for are the French tanks. They're small. The idea with the tanks is like death by 1,000 cuts. So I'm not doing a whole lot of damage, but the idea is that I'm so fast you're not gonna see me. Like I'm a pee 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 and then gone.
Tracer.
Yep, and then I'm gonna let Widowmaker take the shot, and I just keep going.
Do you guys remember battle tanks like back on like the N64 PS?
That sounds so familiar.
That really does.
Because that game was actually a whole lot of fun, and it had a whole campaign like future apocalypse nonsense, whatever. But it had multiplayer modes where you played on a team of tanks. And
battle tanks with an X.
Yeah, and like objectives and stuff with tanks. Like this sounds like more of that. Which honestly was fun. It was really fun back then. I wouldn't mind actually checking that out.
Now, do you want to know the best part about it?
What's the best part about it?
PC mobile crossplay.
Oh right, because you said you were playing on your phone, right? Because I remember it is a console game, right? Isn't it on?
Yeah. Well, I knew World of Tanks was a console game, but I didn't know about the Blitz version.
World of Tanks Blitz is on your smart device and on your PC.
Oh, so hold on. World of Tanks Blitz is different than World of Tanks.
Yes, those are two made by the same people.
Right.
Two different games.
Okay.
That would be crazy if it was two different people. I'd have been so mad if I was World of Tanks and then Blitz came out.
I don't think you're allowed to do that.
No.
But yeah, like it is really fun. There's no voice chat or anything like that. So it's like, hey, spot over here. I need help. Attack. Come around. And it's really, really fast.
Okay.
So yeah, World of Tanks Blitz. Ain't bad.
Might check that one day.
Pretty popular, I guess, for a reason.
What else as far as watching, I finally am at season 3, episode 1 of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, that's a great season. That's the final one.
Good job.
I absolutely, with every fiber of my being, hate Azula. Absolutely. She is, without a doubt, at least as far as I have seen throughout this show, the worst person in this series.
Supposedly, she's getting she was supposed to have a redemption arc. That's what the creator was saying recently, that she was supposed to have a redemption arc, and I didn't read the whole article, but there was some kind of logistics why they couldn't do it or why they didn't do it.
I will say, as awful as Azula is, she's like very good at it. So you kind of have to give her, like, people hate
villains.
Yeah, like people hate Azula, but also you kind of love just how well realized she is as a bad guy.
What gets me though is
go ahead.
What gets me though is this is not the first time that Team Avatar has been hoodwinked, swindled, tricked by someone from the Fire Nation saying, oh, I'm going to surrender. Because first it was the moon spirit or that fish where it's like, oh, hey, I'm just going to drop the fish in. Don't worry. I'm not going to. And then just dead. And then after that, everybody has surrounded Azula. She has her back to the wall. It's like, okay, I know when I've been defeated. Why doesn't anybody like Toph lock her? No, it's like, okay, she said she's going to surrender, and then bow right at Uncle Iroh. Come on.
She's too smart for them. Like she has that level of cunning that they can't match.
But and last thing, and then I will let you go, Blue. MVP of the series is Sokka. MVP is Sokka. He has no bending. He has nothing uniquely special aside from lots of wonderful tactical battle knowledge. And this guy is going toe to toe with a boomerang. like I saw that. I finally saw that little snapshot where it's like you have fire, water, earth, boomerang. Like, what was that supposed to do? but he has had his moments, and he is really intelligent. I think there was an episode where it clearly said, "Am I the only one that's supposed to come up with the battle plan?" Yes,
Like,
you
yeah.
actually are. It's you. So I gotta say, MVP, an MVP to him. He's a good one.
That's what's up. I was gonna say, like, on the same vein of Azula, you have characters like Cersei from Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
Like, you hate her so much, but you have to respect the power and the come up and the way that, like, one of the things I loved, and I won't go too far into this,
Mhm.
but Cersei got torn down to literally almost nothing, and then came back to rule that whole place. Oh, not Westeros. What's
King's Landing.
King's Landing, yeah. Like, she was a nobody at one point for the most part, and then just and those are the villains that you love to watch. Those are the villains that you love to see defeated, but they have to be defeated properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't
They
think
put a lot
Cersei
of time
was
in.
defeated properly.
Yeah, no. And that's a whole nother.
Right.
But, like, those are the villains that I don't want to go too much into other examples, but I love good villains.
I can't wait for you to reach the end of season 3, though. Like, Avatar has such a satisfying, incredible, like, finale. Like, it really ends, like, beautifully.
Well,
So,
I go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I'm
I was-
gonna switch topics in a second.
Okay, because I was going to say I can see why people can binge this show and watch it over and over
Yeah,
again.
I'll probably rewatch it very soon myself.
I can. This is I am blown away, and not the animation style, but how the storytelling is done. That is what I want mimicked. That's what needs to be mimicked, and not just animation, but like movies. Like that. This is some. Damn, this is good.
Sigma, you talked about shows that had. Oh, I'm sorry, Gamer. Were you done with your watching?
Yep, done.
Okay. Sigma, you talked about shows that had satisfying ending. On the exact opposite of the spectrum,
Oh dear.
finished Gotham. I finished Gotham. And it
Okay.
hurt.
Okay, so Gotham, I guess, was not satisfying.
Not at the end. No, it's like they built up. It's going to the strip club, man. You just got teased, and then you spent a whole bunch of time and money, and now you're going home.
Okay, so what exactly is Gotham about?
The premise is actually really cool. All right, and the first couple seasons were actually pretty dope, in my opinion. But it's really about the city of Gotham, the day, like starting from the day that the Waynes died. So when Bruce Wayne's parents got killed in the alleyway, and
Right.
Detective Gordon, not Commissioner Gordon, Detective Gordon is like he just got to Gotham, transferred from somewhere else, and he just took on this case, and he meets Bruce for the very first time, and you see young Bruce, and that actor, he did so well as a young Bruce, in my opinion. You see this kid just watch his parents die, go into this trauma, and start becoming this dark person, this dark knight. And you see all the other villains from base level, which is, I think that's the biggest appeal. You get to see Penguin when he's just a little errand boy. You get to see Riddler when he was a good guy. You get to see all these people become these big villains, and really notice that Gotham is its own worst enemy.
Pretty
It is
much. Yeah, that city is
a
awful.
terrible place.
That city is the worst.
The whole time. I know my girlfriend's so annoyed with me saying it all the time, but I'm just like, why don't they just leave? Because it's not like I'm saying leave another country. I'm like, yo, just go to the next state,
just-
fam. Like,
Take the train, buy an apartment.
son. Oh my gosh, they go through all kinds of trials and tribulations. But Penguin was an excellent. They had excellent characters. And then the storytelling was really bad. Like in the end of 3, I think, and then the 4th season, and they tried to wrap it back up at the end. It wasn't enough. It wasn't a lot. They had a really good Joker arc, actually.
Yeah, I remember hearing a
Joker
lot of buzz about that kid who played Joker. Matter of fact, it's the kid who ended up playing what's the
from
name in Star Wars, right? In the
yeah, in
game.
the Star Wars Fallen Order. I can't remember his name. It's
Yeah,
the
me
redhead
neither.
guy, but he played an excellent Joker. I have to say, because I don't know. Can I spoil it? Is it?
I mean, it's
Is this?
kind of old, and
It's
I'm
super
personally
old.
not gonna watch it. So,
I'm not gonna watch it.
yeah, if anyone is listening or watching intends to watch Gotham or are watching Gotham
Yeah.
right now,
Just
let's
skip
give
ahead,
them
like, 30
about
seconds.
3 minutes. Just skip ahead, because Blue's gonna do a little bit of spoilers.
Little bit of spoilers. Little spoilers. This is the cool thing, right? One thing I really loved about the series is Joker. And not because I'm a Joker fan. I'm actually kind of the anti-Joker fan because Joker gets so much hype in general and blah blah blah. Okay, anyway. He starts off as this crazy redhead kid who was, I think he was already in Arkham because he had killed his parents or something like that. Or no. He grew up in the circus and his mom was a prostitute or something. It was really bad start.
Okay.
He starts killing people, gets locked up, da da da. Okay, cool. He gets out of Arkham just like everybody does. It's like a rite of passage for a villain. And he starts hunting down, and you don't really realize it. Granted, he's terrorizing the city and other people are using him for his maniac genius and stuff like that, but he ends up starting hunting down his twin brother. So while you have Jerome Velasca, and he's like this crazy looking dude, and then you have the really clean cut version, Jeremiah Velasca, and you don't even know about him until you find out Jerome's trying to hunt this other person down. So anyway, they've apparently Jerome's been trying to kill Jeremiah for the longest time. Jeremiah hid himself in a bunker. He's super smart. He actually worked a lot with Wayne Tech and Wayne Industries, and then Jerome ended up dying and infecting Jeremiah with this crazy serum. Right now, this is the thing. Right now, Jeremiah he says it didn't work. But it just discolored my face and stuff like that. But I understand that Gotham needs to be burned to the ground and all this kind of stuff. There's obviously a lot more, but the fact that it was like a passed on trait from a brother to brother, and it was two different takes on the Joker, I thought it was super dope. You had the chemical expert, and
that
then you
sounds
had
ridiculous
the engineering
to me. But if you're saying they did it well, then I'll defer to you, because that sounds kind of dumb.
He had a twin brother. He kind of passed on the title of Joker. They never called themselves Joker even till the very, very end of the series. But everyone's like Jeremiah Velasca, and he had this girl named Harley. Well, he called her. I think he called her Puddin'. He didn't call her Harley Quinn, but she kept dressing up like that. But she had a mental issue because she survived a shot in the back of her head, and so like whenever she like moves her head around, you hear like a little jingle, and it was kind of cool with the whole
with the Harley Quinn.
The Harley Quinn, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was crazy for the bullet. I think he put it there too. Yeah, that dude is wild. But this is like the Zoot suit. What's his name? Jack Nicholson Joker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when
like
he's wearing the brim head, the brim hats, he was a really clean cut Joker by the end of it, and it was up until the very very end, and then he got super messed up again. But anyway.
All right, I think that's about time for.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
The big disappointment was just that they just said, "Okay, here's Batman. Now he's Batman," and then they stopped the show.
Well, I was actually going to ask about that specifically because I remember when the show first was like pitched and was about to air, like before it even premiered.
Mm-hmm.
Like they made a point to say like this show is about Gotham and such. And there will not be a Batman. Like you'll probably only ever see Batman in the final shot of the show. Like that was their plan from the beginning. So they actually held true to that. Okay.
Yeah, they did, and it was frustrating because you didn't even see his face. You just saw, and mind you, there's a 10-year time skip at the end.
Right.
So everybody's growing up, and Bruce is sitting there in the Batman suit. You don't get to see his face, no nothing. He doesn't say nothing. He's just standing on the building, like I'm Batman. And then,
I mean, they said that's what they would do, so I can't be mad at them. They stayed true to their word.
One time I wish there was line. Okay, let me get to my other stuff. I started. Me and the lady started watching Legion season 2 last night. That show is a brain trip. I'm still trying to figure it out. Like we had to pause a couple times. Like, so are they saying that this, that, and this means this? It's a whole psychedelic trip because Legion is a crazy character. And then I was watching Doro Hedoro. It's on Netflix. It's this it's an anime about this magic city, and it's not a good magic city. It's a city that collects all the residue from magic in other places and all the failed experiments and all the bad stuff, like pretty much magic smog exists in this city, and it mutates people and it mutates the city, and it's super grimy, but it's very gory. No, sorry.
Wow.
It's more gory than I expected. I should say that. It's not very gory. It's more gory than I expected. You got people biting off people's faces and stuff like that. And just some pretty good combat though. Definitely I'm like just in the middle of this season right now. And it keeps getting darker. It's cool. But last thing I wanted to talk about, Nier Automata. Last week I said Nier Automata the whole time. It's Nier Automata. There's an ATA at the end.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like talk too much about it, and one thing I really did want to highlight is that I think it's the perfect blend of a bullet hell and an action RPG, and a lot of it's hard to even see that until you turn on the game. The perspectives that they have on there from one area to the next, you can see it's all tailored for a specific viewpoint to increase or to change the difficulty. I'm not going to say increase, just to change the difficulty. So I definitely encourage y'all, if you have Game Pass, give Nier Automata just at least an hour. It's dope. You'll be happy.
Yeah, I've been meaning to. I need more time in life.
You need more time?
Oh, no.
We're going to talk about time later, right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, did that do it for you?
Yeah, that's what that is for me.
Okay. I have a couple of things.
What you got,
but not too much, I don't think. You guys might have peeped that I personally did not play Death Stranding, but I was on stream with Jack, who was playing Death Stranding, so we were basically kind of going through it together. And that game is everything that I assumed about it from information that I absorbed.
And what was that?
It's not for me, is essentially like that game is like 40 to 50% cutscene, it seems like.
Yeah. I heard it's a movie with game in between.
Right, like Kojima wanted to make a movie. He hired a bunch of actual actors to star in this movie. And then because he's a game developer, kind of threw some gameplay in it. But it's like the gameplay in that game, apparently it's a mix of a couple of different things. There's the traversal, where you basically have to take an item from one location on like that very large map to a different location, and navigating that map is kind of a hassle because the terrain can stop you from moving certain places. What you're carrying on your back can stop you from moving, and you have to press triggers to kind of keep your balance. So it's like Jack was playing the first mission, and he had a corpse on his back that he had to transport somewhere, right? The entire time he walked, and it was maybe a 15-20 minute trek, he had to hold both triggers down just to move and not fall over.
Oh no.
So
I am not the one.
Right. So like that's what you're doing to like maintain your balance. And that in and of itself is not entertaining, but some people in the chat, and Jack himself eventually was basically saying, well, I can kind of zone out. You know, I can zone out, I can zen, like there's like a great soundtrack that plays in the background. Like it kind of helps you reach this kind of zen state when you're just kind of trekking through an environment to do this kind of menial labor job, right? And like immediately in my head, I went like, I mean, I guess there's a fan base that's into that, because isn't that what Animal Crossing is? Like kind of just
No, it's not.
menial tasks. No,
No,
okay.
I knew that's what he was gonna go.
Because that's what it feels like.
I knew that. I knew that too. I was waiting for that criticism,
like,
just
no way
because
this man's
he's gonna go in there about blah blah
Animal
blah,
Crossing.
boring game, blah blah blah, not a whole lot of gameplay, kind
No,
of like
man,
Animal
I knew
Crossing,
it.
right?
I should have said something.
I knew it was coming.
Look,
I just didn't want to be rude.
from the outside looking in, it doesn't seem like there's that much for you to do in terms of gameplay. Like the other pillar of gameplay is actually the management of the cargo, right? There's like a whole system where you're kind of stacking it, which seems kind of like a puzzle game. Like it has puzzle game elements where you're trying to find the most efficient way to stack all the crap that you have on you, because you have to manage the weight. You don't want to be too heavy on one side or another side, and it affects the way you will have to walk, because you'll have to press those triggers in a certain way to kind of maintain your balance or something. So I can see the gameplay there, but I don't know, just none of it seems fun or interesting. And the story itself, which some people can make the argument, well, if the story's good enough, it can pull you along, right? Nothing in that game made sense. Like, from what I can tell.
Visuals at least appealing to you.
Like, the game looks gorgeous, period. Like, it is...
Okay.
Like, those actors are amazingly well modeled. Like, the environment is very good. Like, the effects where... Like, that game is, like, all aesthetic, you know what I mean? Like, those monsters, like, those ghosts that have the umbilical cords floating around you, like, the way the light changes when you're in, what they call it, the time fall, because it's the rain that basically makes the world age. Like, so you'll see grass, like, grow and die, and then grow, and then die, because it ages everything. Like, that is all dope. Like, the goo monsters, when you get caught, like, it's like these figures coming out of, like, oil that are, like, grabbing onto Norman Reedus' character and, like, trying to pull him down. All of that looks amazing. It's just there's nothing really holding that experience together for someone like me. You know, like, those long stretches of kind of doing mostly nothing, coupled with very long stretches of watching incoherent, like, cutscenes. Like, it just wasn't doing it for me. Like, we were sitting there kind of jaws agape half the time, just laughing at what the hell was going on, because like it was really stupid and crazy situations. So I don't know. It's on PC. If you want to try it out now, go right ahead. But because it was in the Steam account for Escapist, I was gonna give it a shot myself, but then Jack asked me to like sit in with him, and after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm good. Not even gonna bother. So that was my experience with Death Stranding. I did finish Spider-Man though. Like, it took me a little bit because I was in like the end game where, you know, you kind of don't want it to end, so you start doing all the side stuff. But I eventually just buckled down, went and did the final story missions. Spider-Man is a great game. I do think it suffers from what a lot of Sony exclusives suffer from, is where in some parts it's just more spectacle. You know? Like, none of the boss fights in Spider-Man are particularly good. Like, you're kind of in this face-off with characters, and it's just all flash, no substance. Like, sure, you have to hit the dodge button like you do in regular combat, but it's kind of like pre-canned situations where you do it enough times, then they give you the opening, you just mash the attack button a bunch, and then rinse, repeat, you know?
So God of War, like.
I wouldn't say that. Which God of War are you referring to?
I'm talking about the first one where you da, and then circle comes above their head.
Oh, like the quick time events. Yeah, in that vein, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's the God of War boss battles that I'm talking about. But aside from that, did they at least make you like use your abilities, or was it really like, oh, lead the rhino into this wall and make the piece of rebar fall on his head?
It was like literally that exact. Like, there is a rhino fight in this game, and literally. That's part of what you do, is you leave
that was shot in the dark. I do not own that game, audience. I promise you, that was a shot in the dark.
To their credit, I will say that they don't lean super heavy on the QuickTime stuff, which in turn kind of makes the boss fights feel even less engaging. It's more like you're kind of watching a lot of those events. They'll have you press like maybe one button. They'll have you do like one mash where you're like tapping square like a bunch. Or they'll have you do the thing where, okay, normally you press the R1 button to like shoot your web powers or whatever. So in this sequence, hit R1 and R2 a bunch, because now he's just shooting a bunch of webs. So it's like, I get it, you're trying to make it 1-to-1, but I don't know, like most of it is just cutscene heavy. And it was kind of the worst at the very end. Not to spoil, I guess, who you fight or whatever. But when you get to that last boss fight, like the scenario is very epic. Like, what's happening, like the lighting, like the mood, it's like very dire, very, very, like, you know, final. It's very much so a finale, you know? But it's like you're doing the same stuff you did from the first boss fight where you just dodge an attack,
man.
like throw something in the environment at the guy, and then web swing to him so you can do your combos. And they didn't even bother to make each combo section different. He does the same exact attack in the pre-canned sequence once you do hit him. And then, like, they move from that phase to a different phase where, okay, now he's doing a different attack, but that's the same attack. And, like, it lasted way too long. Like,
Oh, man.
kind of did the repeated sequence of dodging his attacks and then hitting him with my own attacks, where you're doing literally the exact same movements, like, 5 or 6 times in a row before, like, the fight was over. And it kind of just sucked the life out of it.
If I could.
It's funny, like, there's some games that I think this might be this similar case, but it's like sometimes the fights with a whole bunch of people are a lot more fun and engaging than the boss fights, because the boss fights are typically one-on-one, and you got those.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got only one person to concentrate on. So I feel like is that kind of what's happening with Spider-Man?
Yes.
Like,
it's like the combat system they built is great. Like, it's really fun when you're using that system, but the boss fights don't really make use of it in the same way. Like, if anything, they really could have leaned on, because the web swinging mechanic is its own whole thing, like swinging through the city is very fun, and then like combat is very fun, but those two things don't really mix. Like, you don't really use the web slinging to fight. If they could have somehow just made a scenario where, okay, I need to web swing maybe around this environment, like maybe do some kind of weird platforming, read certain things to damage the boss, like maybe not directly with attacks, but like with
take down a shield.
Yeah, like just make it a scenario that makes me use the game mechanics to engage with this boss, and it'd have been way more fun. But like they kind of just skipped that and went like, we'll just fight this guy with what you got, and it kind of wasn't enough.
Did this game make you want to perhaps get the DLC?
Well, the version I bought has all of it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so maybe down the road eventually I'm gonna go back to it, because I'm not gonna front. Spider-Man is fun as hell. It is a really fun game to play, period. Like, I really enjoyed the fighting and swinging mechanics, and the story was very good as well. It's just those boss fights were disappointing, and because it's such a dramatic boss fight that kind of ends it, it kind of left you with kind of a unsatisfying feeling at the end. But the story it told was actually very good. Gotcha. So I did hear that the DLCs kind of didn't live up to that game's, like the main game story, but I like the game enough to kind of jump back in there when I have some time. But I did buy Ghost of Tsushima.
I saw that, bro.
Did not get a chance to play it yet, because as you know, when you install a game on PlayStation, first you install the actual gigs for the game, and then you have to do an online update. An online update is like an hour and some change, so I just left it alone. So I'll probably start that sometime in the near future, because I'm really interested in kind of what that game's combat system has, from what I've heard.
Right.
From what I've seen, the photo system in that game,
people are loving the photos on that.
Yeah.
Like if you get your hands on this, Blue, I'm afraid of just how much time is going to be gone. But considering the fact that you can't customize your samurai, I'm not too concerned.
I don't know that's true.
You can customize the samurai, yeah. You can buy gear and make him look a bunch of different ways, apparently.
Oh, no. Well, there goes Blue. All right. Well.
I didn't say that. You say that. I don't do a whole bunch of single players. And I kind of got to be like, I have to have a really good reason to get into a single player game and just focus on that. So, I don't know if this is going to be on my to buy list, but it's going to definitely be on my to watch on stream list. So, Signal, whenever you get
if I can figure out, because what I may end up needing to do, because I've in the past I've streamed off my PS4, but straight to YouTube.
Yeah.
So I may just do like a daisy chain type thing where like I stream to like maybe my personal YouTube, and then just take that feed and then restream that to everything else. So
just stream it to Twitch, because PS4 got the yeah, PS4 got you going straight to Twitch.
But then I'd have to sign in with, well, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll figure that out.
But
was that it?
That's it for games. In terms of watching,
what you watching, bro?
I just well, to take a cue from our guest last week, I started watching Little Witch Academia, which is a Trigger anime that I did not know about, because I peeped it on Netflix. I finally started to watch it. It is very much so Trigger in terms of how it's animated, like wild, scenarios, like beautiful animation, like overly dramatic characters, comedic situations and whatnot. But it's actually very much so cartoony in like a Cartoon Network type of way.
Yeah.
So,
Please explain.
Well, the show is pretty much Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's like an all girls witch magic school, and like the main character is like super bubbly, super excited to be a witch. Like she's very like gung ho and
ignorant about the world too.
Yeah, very much so. Like she kind of has this one idea about what it is to be a witch because of like her idol, who was this magician she saw as a kid. And then she comes to the school that has all this tradition.
I saw the first episode.
You did? Okay. Yeah. I'm actually very much enjoying it. Like it's honestly like it feels like it's something made for younger kids, which is fine, but it's like it's adorable. Like the show, like it kind of teaches you like lessons about perseverance and about friendship and all that stuff.
Sounds like right up my alley. Let's go.
Yeah, like it's a good time.
Like shonen anime though.
It is, but this one is just it's a lot lighter. You know what I mean? Like this, like
I give you that. Yeah.
At least not yet. I'm up to like maybe episode 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that has happened that puts the fate of the world in jeopardy. You know, like these
I was
kids.
about to say, no world.
Yeah, these kids don't have to save the world. They don't have to, prevent murders and stuff. They're just learning magic, and they have their own internal issues. Like they don't want to get kicked out of school. They don't want to get in trouble. They want to pass a test. Like these are big issues for them and their world. But it doesn't, the stakes aren't super high.
Yeah, the world isn't going to explode if you fail this course.
Right, and that's very refreshing to be honest, because like almost every freaking thing you watch is like, oh well, now we gotta save the world. Like why? Why can't we save the neighborhood or just save my friend?
Like whenever I'm watching My Hero, right?
Why can't we just get lunch?
I'm like, these cats. High school was rough for me. I think for a lot of people, high school is kind of rough. And you gotta save the world, and your mentor's finna die, and like, yo, there's a lot.
Yeah, it's like things get real dark.
Relax for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I will give that to you. And the only thing I will raise Shin Megumi Tensei Persona, because you actually have to study, and then you have to balance relationships on top of spending an extra hour in a universe that technically doesn't exist to fight monsters that then make you tired that you can't tell anyone about, and then to go handle your stuff the next day. Oh, and by the way, if you fail this, everyone on Earth dies.
Yeah, see that last part is not cool, bro.
Like that's maybe a little bit too much stress for these
like
teenagers.
Everything before that last part was solvable with coffee. But okay, yeah.
But yeah, that's it for anime. But just last night, I finally got around to watching Hobbs and Shaw, that Fast and Furious spinoff movie.
How was that movie?
I love those movies.
To be 100% honest, I enjoyed it, and I am a fan. I am a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise, like point blank period. I even liked Tokyo Drift, which a lot of people hated for some weird reason.
Drift, those are the bougie people. That was the most entertaining one.
Oh my god, Tokyo Drift has the best drifting sequence in any of those movies. When they fly through that Tokyo intersection and all the people just like make the path. That is dope.
Not just that, the song for that movie. Like, first of all, that song is super popular. And on the opposite spectrum, I think nobody knows the lyrics to that song.
Nope, they just know go to Tokyo.
But they love it.
They know that part. Look, I love that movie. Yes, Bow Wow was in it, but I love it regardless. But anyway,
didn't even do that bad. He
was fine. He was fine.
Yeah, he did his job.
But Hobbs and Shaw, and I actually just recently had an argument about it just before watching it. I was like hanging out with a bunch of my line brothers, like we all got together, like Thursday night or something, and they were talking about how the Marvel movies kind of infected the action movie genre, because every movie after that was now trying to be an action comedy as opposed to just relying on the action part. And it's like, I guess I can kind of see that, but Hobbs and Shaw very much so really wanted to be a comedy. Like they did the insane action and whatnot, but every other scene was like a lot of jokes, one-liners, like the back and forth between The Rock and Jason Statham. If you're not into that, I can definitely see why that would grate on you and be annoying. but I ate it up. Like, I'm a big Dwayne The Rock Johnson fan. Like, I
know you're a Jason Statham fan.
I'm a huge Jason Statham fan.
I know.
Don't ask me why. I don't know. That guy, he just does it for me. He just does it for me. Jason Statham is that dude. So you put those two guys together, like, they're both, you know, charismatic, they're funny. Like, they actually play off of each other pretty well. Like, I didn't find it, like, off-putting. And, like, the scenario... And, honestly, Idris Elba, who I'm not the biggest fan of personally, like, I think he's overrated in terms of, like, his acting and ability and whatnot. I thought Idris Elba did great in this movie. Like, I'm coming around on him now.
I'm happy that you said... Okay, that's good. I don't think he's that bad of an actor. Well, have you seen Luther?
No, I haven't seen Luther. But
Fan.
I'm also catching up on The Wire, and he's in that. And
oh, yeah. That's older.
Yeah, and honestly... He's passable. Like, I like his character, but I feel like Idris Elba is like he looks out of place to me.
That's probably because you've seen him in other things
that's possible.
Recently. Yeah, because he's super young in The Wire.
Yeah, he is.
Right?
That's the thing. Yeah, he's super young in The Wire. Everyone else around him is actually super young. He looks older than all of them to me. And I think he's supposed to be, but he looks way older than them. And like the way he like because he's like first of all he's a British guy. He does a great American accent. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It still just rings disingenuous, and that might just be because, like you said, I've seen him elsewhere at this point.
Yeah.
But him doing his Brixton thing in Hobbs and Shaw, like he was full on British. He was a tough guy. You know, he had like little one-liners and quips, but he was mostly serious for the most part. It really fit. Like I felt like everyone who was in that movie, they kind of let be themselves. Like The Rock was like making jokes with his daughter in the movie about doing like literally the people's eyebrows. She said, "Oh, you do that thing with your eyebrows." I was like, "What are you talking about? I don't do it. What do you mean?" Like he literally said lines where he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take this chair, turn it sideways," and like that's The Rock. Like that's The Rock. Y'all just let him be The Rock in this, and I found that thoroughly enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
So like I know it's not the best action movie, but I don't think it's bad at all. Okay. Like it's fine. It's a great popcorn action flick.
I'm gonna still encourage y'all to watch The Guardian. The Guardians. The Guardians.
Oh, that's that off-brand Avengers thing, right? Like was it Russian or Ukrainian?
I hate saying that because after watching it, it's really dope in its own. It stands up on its own.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
I
should check that out.
But
you're right.
That is the best way to tell people what it is. The Russian Avengers.
But that's it for what I've been gaming and watching. We're going to move off of that then and into our Super Smash Sunday recap. Blue, take it away.
It's Blues News. Super Smash Sundays was great again last week. We had our Terrence. He put in a lot of work with Mario. I was watching back the replay, and he got this one up smash on me on Pokemon Stadium that it happened so dang fast. Anyway, good job. He did Mario and Sonic. And he was really killing it every time he got onto those two characters. Everything else he didn't really hold on to. But then we had Fresh. And Fresh, he played Pit most of the day. And when he played Pit, people knew it. He held on to a pretty good win streak there. But at the very, 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 very end, we had a new person come in named Paradigm. Paradigm came in with Piranha Plant and was really just shutting people out. He only got...
Plant Gang!
He or she only got a couple rounds in because he came in at the end of the stream, but it was still.
I don't think he took a loss then. Like once he got in the ring, towards the end,
it was about 4 games
stayed there. Yeah.
So GG to everybody. Yeah, you guys make sure you get there, and for Paradigm too, make sure you get there on time so you get more than 4 games in. 2:30 p.m. Eastern is when we do our Super Smash Sundays, of course, on Sundays. And that's the Super Smash recap of the day, for the week.
Thank you, Blue. So with that, we'll move on to our quick updates before we get into our main topics. We just learned, this just happened recently, Metacritic will now make their users wait about 36 hours before posting user reviews. So this apparently seems to be in response to The Last of Us 2, which we talked a little bit about, like the weird fan response to some of what was going on in there. Some of them were hitting the Metacritic and posting user reviews about an hour after the game launched. So there was no time for you to actually...
Impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible for you to have played that game
Yeah.
and given an actual reasonable review.
Objective review. No way.
And there was also the fact that the script for the game leaked prior to the game coming out, if you guys remember that.
Yeah,
and some folks were basically writing reviews based on that information.
Script.
And, like, come on, that's not what a review's supposed to do, okay? And this may sound a little bit elitist. I've often found that user reviews for video games specifically tend to be just awful. Like, there's no value to them most of the time, because people will either give a game a perfect score because they personally really like it, or they'll give it a 1 or a 0 because there's one thing that they don't like about it, and that's not how a review works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are just so extreme.
I mean, and you're right. And there's I don't think there's too much we can do about it, because what you hear is the loudest people. So while there's a whole bunch of people that could like a game, not everybody's gonna say, "Hey, I like this game." They're just gonna like it. But when you're pissed off about a game, you're more likely to tell folks, "Yo, this game sucks." Mostly because it's drama. Like, people love that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, "Yo, this game sucks. This is why it sucks." People love a good roast session, and then that's where the negative attention is always more. But I hear what you're saying. At the end of the day, reviews need to be thought out, and they need to be like inclusive, and they can't just be 5s and 0s. You know what I mean? If scale of 0 to 5 or 1s and 5s, whatever. It's not always one way or the other. I personally, I don't think I've played, or I don't remember a game that I thought was perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of a game that I was like, yeah, this doesn't need anything else. It's perfect the way it is. And that, I think that's just, I feel like everybody at the end of the day, if they're honest with themselves, I don't think they can really say that. Do you guys have a game that you think is perfect?
Well, I do want to make a comment on that, but Gamer, it looked like you had something you were trying to chime in about.
No, I'm trying to actually think about what he said, because I think about the game, like my GOAT, like the greatest of all time, Ratchet and Clank on the PS2. Do I act like what I have to think? What flaws can I find in that game? And I have to actually think about it, because to say that something is perfect is like viewing it through my eyes. So yeah, I'll say that it's perfect, and then like write a Iliad about why, but instead of just writing like, oh yeah, this game is awesome, hashtag needs more furry, 5 out of 5. Like, no, it's going to be a little bit more with that. But when I am thinking about a game that I think is perfect, that is one that comes to mind.
Okay. So I like that you put that you're looking through your eyes, because that's what a review is, right? Like, there is this notion in the ether that to review something, you have to be objective. Not possible.
No.
It's art we're talking about. We're talking about art.
You got to talk about how it makes you feel.
Exactly. It's always going to be biased. It's always going to be subjective. It's going to be from the person who's reviewing its perspective. So that's why the term perfect, I don't think that actually really applies in a review, especially not a game review. Like a 10 out of 10 or a 5 out of 5 score.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you'll see, at least not anymore, you'll see like a game company letter that as perfect. You know what I mean? Like, when they say a game is a 10 out of 10, they don't mean it's perfect. They don't mean it's without any issue. They just mean it's something that, either elevated the genre for them. It does things that, speak to them personally. Like, it basically is something that must be experienced by other people.
I feel what you're saying, and I think the word perfect is probably the wrong word to use, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of these short user reviews are saying that word,
because they don't
and
get
that's
it.
the problem.
And that's why I always find them so useless. Like,
I
because
feel you.
honestly, if I'm going to Amazon and I'm trying to buy some new electronic, I hit those user reviews because the people in there
100%.
use the thing and they write about, their experience
They
with
take
it.
pictures.
Right. Like, those are
Mhm.
very useful user reviews. I don't think I've ever seen user reviews for games that have had that level of nuance. Like, not on any, grand scale. Like, people who play games and go and write user reviews most of the time are bad at it. Point blank, period. That's just the truth of the matter. They suck at writing reviews. Like, they don't know what they're supposed to be doing, and so it has no value to anybody else.
Okay. Okay. I think that well, we don't have to spend too much time on this, but I do feel like some people might be doing reviews just to get their voice heard and not necessarily to help others.
Right.
But that's a whole
Yeah, like
nother,
it's like a
thing.
they use it as like a complaint department.
Yeah, exactly.
Or in the case of this situation that Metacritic acted on, a bunch of people were spamming it with negative reviews, so then people want to counteract that. Like, no, this game is great, so I'm going to give it to... So, again, not very valuable as a review. You're just fighting against the negativity.
Numbers.
Yeah, so, like, what's the point? Like, you have the critical reception, which gives a valid number from people who have played the game and thought through it, and then you got a bunch of fools just doing whatever. Like, what is the value of that? Metacritic making them wait 36 hours? I don't think it's going to change that, honestly. They'll just wait 36 hours and then spam it like they were going to do before.
I hope it'll give people time to at least cool down. You know what I'm saying? Because, okay, let's say Ghost of Tsushima, right? For whatever reason, people didn't like it day one. Right? Or some people didn't like it and they say, okay, we're all going to just spam this stuff, right? You have just what happened with The Last of Us. You got the numbers pulling. But if you got 36 hours, you can be pissed off the first day. And then you got to take, a day and a half. That's what 36 hours, right?
Yeah.
I can do math. It's a day and a half. Day and a half to cool down or have somebody talk some sense into you. Or you just like, okay, actually, I don't care too much about this. I feel like it gives people a cooling off period from the initial launch. Because there's so much, and you can see it all the time online. There's a rush to be first. There's a rush to be first, and it's always crazy to see. Besides the first comments on YouTube videos,
yeah, every time.
As soon as a inkling of information comes out, people are writing whole articles about it when they don't know nothing. They just want to say something and get the clicks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think that's a lot of what happens with these day one reviews as well. But we can move off of that.
No, it makes sense. Giving them
I think
a
overall
little time to think on it maybe could produce
I think it'll be
less of them.
Yeah.
But either way, I don't know. Prove me wrong, guys. Like, start writing better user reviews. Because as of right now, like, I'm not paying attention to them because they suck.
That makes sense.
But anyway, we're gonna move on to
Except the ones on Amazon.
Yeah, no, those are good. Those are useful most of the time. But
yeah,
we'll move on to our main topics. First up, what do you got for us, Blue, in the Star Wars world?
Bruh, in a galaxy, a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Oh, I love this story.
You know what I'm saying? We're having a spinoff from the Clone Wars series. Star Wars: The Bad Batch animated series has been announced. So, what is the Bad Batch, right?
Great question.
Yeah.
In the very last season of Clone Wars, it's amazing. By the way, I'm still like one episode behind because I don't want it to end. But very early in the season, they introduced a group of clones called the Bad Batch. Now, initially, you're like, oh, these are some elite clones. That is not the word for these guys. They're not elite. They're special. These guys are basically the X-Men of the Star Wars universe.
Kinda.
When it comes to the clones. So these are clones who have been genetically altered with one specific trait. That's kind of how they've described it. And like one dude is super strong, one guy is super accurate, one's really good with gizmos. And now they're not always purposefully done that way. Some of them are accidents. So they're really kind of like the mutations of the base clone, and they made their own little company. And in the last season, like I was saying, one of the signature clones ended up joining them because he got messed up in the war.
Mm-hmm.
His brain got super scrambled. It was crazy. But yeah, he joins them now, and I'm according to the article, it looks like they're going to take off from the end of the Clone Wars and go into the post Clone Wars era, where this Bad Batch is going to be more mercenaries than they are this force for the Rebel Alliance. So, excuse me, not Rebel Alliance. The oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. The good guys. Let's go start with that.
Okay. So this is someone who
The Republic
has very, very small knowledge, Blue and Sigma. I'm going to ask you a really stupid question.
Okay.
What are the clones?
What are the clones? Clones are copies of a bounty hunter named Jango Fett. Now, there's a whole long story into that, but they were cloned from this bounty hunter to make a grand army for the Republic. Now, there's a lot more backstory.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So they're all pretty much this really cool guy, just like this one really cool guy, but different versions of him. Yeah.
Okay, so because of that, I have, unfortunately, one more question.
Go ahead.
How does that tie into Finn?
Oh, Finn's not a clone. He's not a clone.
Oh, okay.
No, he's a regular person that got scooped up from his family.
Yeah, you know what?
When he was
that's a fair question, because that confused me for a time as well.
Thank you. Because I keep thinking clones, and I'm like, okay, if they're clones, then every single one of them looks alike. And then this one takes off their helmet, and it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, apparently what happened, and again, we won't try to go too deep, but apparently what happened, most of that Republic, or was it Imperial Army?
What I don't know.
The Republic. The clones. The clones belong to the Republic, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the clones were the Republic army who were fighting the Separatists, who were all robots. So you got mass-produced robots, you got mass-produced people fighting as armies, right?
Okay.
After that war ended, the Republic army transformed into the Imperial army, and the stormtroopers were mostly made up of those clones. But
go ahead.
But clone production stopped at that point. So new soldiers became abducted like child soldiers or recruits from other planets or whatever. So you had a mix of, some of those clones and then just regular people after the Clone Wars.
Okay.
Most of the clones died out by the time you seen Finn. I think all of them.
Okay. Sure. Man, you know what? Oh, can you guys just make a nice YouTube video about that? Because
there's plenty.
I get plenty. But here's the thing. I get so many long, drawn out, and it's just like, I just answer my question. That's it. That's all I want. Just answer my question.
We trying, bro. We try. You
Star Wars is complicated as hell.
A big universe.
Okay, you guys asked me something about the MLP universe. I can give it to you in like 4 sentences.
Promise you I will not.
Yeah, because it's a lot smaller.
I know you want.
It's a lot smaller, though. It's a lot smaller, though.
But
as far as you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know, so
that's why I say okay.
Yeah, fair. But to get back onto this, I will say, I find it interesting that they used that Bad Batch episode as a backdoor pilot, because after the fact, you can see that that's what they were doing.
Yes, yeah, exactly. When I first watched it, I was like, yo, those guys were super dope. I understand how they moved on to somebody else, because throughout the whole Clone Wars series, they focus on different units, and you're like, oh, that unit's cool. That unit's okay, cool. And then now I'm like, oh, that's why they did it. They did a 2-episode special on
to just introduce
the
these guys,
Bad Batch.
See how well they tracked, and then because the Clone Wars, they brought it back. It was very popular. It was very good, and I guess they want something else in that vein. So let's focus on the clones, which, to be fair, is the strongest part of the Clone Wars series.
100%, I'll give you that.
So I'm excited to see what they do with this, but I gotta say, it does feel like they keep going back to the same well, and they're gonna run this into the ground.
I hear what you're saying, and I thought the same thing, because initially I thought that this was gonna be a story during the Clone Wars again, right? Which the Clone Wars, I think up into season 4, not this one, but the one before it, is technically done, right? This last season, they kind of went back in time, showed you a different perspective, and they're finishing out the Clone Wars again.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's the same pot that they're kind of dipping in, right? Now they're saying with the Bad Batch, they're going past this. They're going past the end of the Clone Wars, and they're going into this life where the Empire is taking over.
So with that, then, does that mean the Bad Batch they're not affected by Order 66? Like they
So if you watch the Clone Wars now, and that's one thing that we're gonna find out, right? We need to
Okay.
find out how they did not get affected by Order 66, or if they were, what happened, blah blah blah. Obviously, if you watch Clone Wars, some of the clones removed the chip from their head. Some of them got it. They were dysfunctional. Not all of them worked 100%. If you watch Rebels as well, you can see
I haven't
some of the
started that
aftermath of that.
yet. Okay.
Yo, you see some old clones in Rebels. This is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't want to go too far into it, but yeah, I would love to see how they survived Order 66. Because if you guys don't know, Order 66 is the great betrayal when all the clones turned on the Jedi and the Republic because brainwashing from Inception. Yeah, gamer, it's a lot, bro. It's a lot. It's a heavy, pivotal point.
Yeah.
Am I gonna have to take like a month and try to catch up on all this?
Honestly, you could just watch the third prequel movie.
That's true.
It would explain the clone stuff for the most part.
Because as I've gotten older, I've realized I've had more friends into Star Wars than I actually knew.
Mm-hmm.
And I know nothing.
It's a corny series, but at the end of the day, it's a really good story. in my opinion.
But then I
It
hear
has its
people.
moments, yeah.
Okay, I'm about to say, because I hear people, rip into it endlessly. Like there are some who shot first. I have no idea what that means.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know
but
exactly.
apparently
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's dumb too.
Okay, see? but
There's levels to it. Yeah, there's levels to the Star Wars fandom. Some are way more obnoxious and annoying than others, for sure.
Okay.
I think I'm right under that, or sometimes I touch that, but I feel like I'm right under the obnoxious, annoying Star Wars fan. While I wear my Star Wars Mr. T-shirt.
Right. But anything else on this new show?
I just gotta say I'm excited. If you've watched the animated series, the action is so amazing. And with the Bad Batch, like I said, the first 2 episodes of the latest season of Clone Wars really showed what they can do. Really showed what the show can do as far as maneuvering these characters through it. So I am hyped. Gonna watch as soon as I can. I know it's gonna be on Disney Plus. So let go.
Nice. So we're gonna move to our next topic. Just this past week, Ubisoft held their Forward conference. They called it Ubisoft Forward. I think that's a weird name for a conference, but whatever. They honestly, in my opinion, I don't think they talked about as much as they could have. But to be fair, just like a lot of these other companies, they're kind of spreading out their news over the entire summer, as opposed to just throwing into one conference the week of E3. Since there is no E3, everyone is elected to kind of spread everything out. So I don't know how to feel about that just yet. But the biggest takeaways from that conference, we got to finally see gameplay from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like actual characters playing. We'll start with that. Did you guys get to check that out?
No.
I watched it a little bit. I don't know, man. It might just be me, but I'm kind of bored with Assassin's Creed.
No, I feel the same way with
because
what they showed.
These are more period pieces and less about assassins. These guys end up being assassins. They're like, oh yeah, I guess you would call me an assassin because I do this. But it's just the very first game, you're one of those dudes. You know what I'm saying? You're Altair. He's not the first assassin. Is he?
No, he's just part of the order.
No, because the Egyptian dude's supposed to be the first one, right?
You know what? I've lost the trail on some of that because there's a couple of people who were the first to do this or the first to do that. So I don't know. Jeff would probably know.
I thought it was Origins. Hopefully Origins is the origin. But anyway, I feel like Assassin's Creed has kind of strayed from being an assassin and more into just it's not stealthy anymore. You can just do what you want.
Yeah, it's kind of a Witcher-esque action RPG now.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought about this as I had heard about it, it just came across my feed, and I'm starting to feel the same way about Assassin's Creed as I feel about Call of Duty Modern Warfare. They're making it because they can, and it'll bring them money, but it's the exact same thing.
I have to disagree, and not that I don't understand where you're coming from, but I do not feel like the Assassin's Creed games have been the exact same from one to the next. I feel like they've always made improvements, at least I should say changes. I'm not going to say improvements. I'm going to say they've always made changes, and depth to their combat system and to their personal management, their character management system. So I wouldn't go so far as to say it's the same game in different skins, but I do see the repetition coming in, and I am bored with it as well.
Yeah, there's a formula they stick to with these games, and the biggest shakeup was from what was it, Unity to Origins, right? Where
Origins,
they kind
yeah.
of flipped it on its head and made it do a new, different thing.
Yeah, like open world. Oh my god!
Right. I mean, they were open world before. It's just
Yeah,
they
Assassin's Creed-
really just they changed like the kind of combat you had. Like they added all this RPG stuff to it, and they were kind of going down that line for like a little bit previously, but this was a very big like gameplay shift. It felt like, and now that was successful, they're kind of rinsing and repeating what they did before, like kind of just doing small iterations. The scope and setting is changing in a big way each time, and that's what I feel like makes it feel like a bigger, more different experience than it is. But yeah, Origins, Odyssey, and now Valhalla look very much the same in a lot of ways. And I just have to say, and I know that Origins and Odyssey are well liked in terms of gameplay. I haven't personally played them yet. I actually have both games sitting on my PC somewhere. Just haven't started them.
Go.
But from the look of like the combat in Valhalla, like it just looked real janky to me. Like this is supposed to be the next gen Assassin's Creed, right? I mean, it will launch on current gen, but it's also gonna have, you know, some stuff. Clearly, they're not focusing on that. They're just gonna port it over because that game looks like the way the characters animate. Like if you look at the footage, I don't know, maybe I'll try to find some and throw it in the side next to me or something.
Yeah.
But if you look at the footage, like the way like they're moving from animation to animation, it just doesn't look anywhere near as smooth as some
like
other
snapping.
games that have come out in recent years.
They're kind of like snapping from fight to fight, right?
Yeah,
or from character to character, and that was kind of the original Assassin's Creed formula. And then they added hitboxes with Odyssey, like more, I should say, tighter hitboxes with Origins and Odyssey, and that was one of the big shakeups that you was talking about. So it feels like they kind of went backwards.
Yeah, and that newer combat always looked a little strange to me. Like the characters kind of just moved a little too quick, like looked a little too awkward. It looks a little too video gamey for a world that's supposed to be this well realized. Yeah. And I don't know. Like it didn't impress. That's kind of my takeaway from Valhalla. Like that cinematic trailer that they put out looked amazing. I got real hyped for what it could be.
Do.
And yeah, then this kind of isn't doing it for me right now. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
And you know, things always get patched. And it said it's work in progress on the bottom.
Yeah, like
of
it
the
is still
screen every time. So
it is still in development. So
we'll see.
Perhaps
We shall see.
What-
But yeah, I'm not super impressed as well.
What did impress me though is the Watch Dogs Legion showcase, and we did see gameplay from that previously. This was like a new build. Watch Dogs Legion looks amazing.
Son, I want that game to be what they say it is. I don't feel like it's gonna be that.
You feel like there's still some caveats.
Son, I just know there is. It's gonna be something stupid, and
I don't know, man. Like
I'm already upset. I don't trust them. I don't know why I don't trust.
I mean, probably because Ubisoft does that a lot. Like they kind of show you a concept and then they toy around with it for a long time, and then it doesn't come out. Like Watch Dogs 1, for example, that kind of blew people out of the water when it was first revealed, and the actual game was very far removed.
And 2, kind of the same thing, where it looked a lot better, and then it was pretty bad.
But I don't know what they're trying to do here with Legion by making your player character essentially a wide cast of NPCs.
Yeah.
Like in and of itself is very impressive to me. Like just the scope of what they want to do is kind of crazy.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean that's pretty much it. Like
yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. I want that to be true. what they're saying and the concept, I want that to come to fruition, but I don't trust Ubisoft. Something tells me it's gonna be I'm not gonna say nothing about microtransactions. I don't think it's gonna be bogged down by that. But I don't know, man. I just feel like there's gonna be very basic NPC management. I don't know. I don't know why I'm not hyped for this. It's just a feeling. I got that 3-star feeling right now. Yeah, it's distress.
What about you, Gabe? Did you get a look at Legion?
Unfortunately, I saw Watch Dogs 1, and because I'm from Chicago, I was like, yes, let's. And then I played it, and it was just so bad. And then I was like, okay, they made a 2. It seems like they're trying to get a little bit more like, hey, we're with the cool kids on this one. Like, we know what's up. And I'm just like, oh, please don't let it be this. Oh, please don't let it be this. And it was exactly that. So they already got 2 strikes with me. So I'm looking at this and I'm just like, I mean, why? Like, yes, you look pretty, but you've looked pretty twice and you fooled me twice. So
I think that's how I feel.
Like that's where I'm at right now. Like I gave you another chance after you already proved me wrong. I don't know if I'm going to be doing this again because I have other things that I know are going to give me some entertainment versus this, which I hope lives up to what they say.
Sigma, I know what it is. All right, here it is. I have a bad feeling it's going to look like, or it's going to play like State of Decay 2. Remember?
Oh.
Yes. Remember how bad that was?
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the moment to moment in State of Decay. Like the grand concept was cool, and you do have to manage a bunch of different people, but those different people are all very similar
and shallow.
Yeah,
super shallow.
The difference.
That's what I'm afraid of.
I can see that.
What I'm afraid of.
I mean, they did
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say they did show. They tried to highlight some of the differences between the different NPCs that you can find, and it's like that seems to be part of the traits. Yeah, that seems to be part of the charm is finding, NPCs that you like. Because like there was like pretty much the John Wick clone who was like a assassin, and how he handled going into that building versus like the construction worker or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, their demo really sold me on the differences because like you can recruit one of the enemy soldiers and she can literally just walk into the building. Like that's nuanced and varied gameplay.
I'm gonna tell you what game is like that. Streets of Rogue. Streets of Rogue is very similar to that, where the different classes that you choose determines how you're gonna approach your objective. You gotta get this file from this cabinet. You can break down the wall. You can sneak in. You can bribe people. You can gas the place, depending on So I think if it has that kind of variability, if it's definitely could be
like if it's dependent on how deep they make those NPCs. And
that's exactly what I'm saying.
And I feel like they may have had the time to do that, like based on just what they showed and like kind of what they're saying.
I hope so.
Yeah, because that's really how it's gonna sink or swim. Is just making each person you recruit feel worth it.
Different.
Yeah, different.
Yeah,
varied.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what the key thing is there. So just like you guys, I hope they nail that. But a couple other things we'll go through quickly from Ubisoft's Forward conference. This leaked prior, but Far Cry 6 was announced, starring Giancarlo Esposito.
I think that's how they're gonna try and get the sales. The starring part.
The thing is, the Far Cry games aren't bad. They just kind of lost their way.
Son, Far Cry to me is like hot dog water. Like, it doesn't do anything for anybody, bro. Like, I don't know. I played a couple of them. I've tried with Far Cry. I'm just like, it's always some stupid. Was it 3 or 4 where you're just some dude on vacation.
That's 3.
And
That's 3.
how stupid was that?
Look, listen, okay.
Uh-oh.
I will defend Far Cry 3. That dude is stupid. The white savior thing that they build up there is stupid. The story is stupid. I will give you that. But Far Cry 3, what it did in terms of open world first-person shooter gameplay was dope. Okay? They just, like Ubisoft always does, they just keep recycling the thing that worked ad nauseum, you know? So they didn't need to keep going back to that well the way they did.
I don't see the point of good gameplay without a good story. I see the point of a good story. Now it sucks, a good story without good gameplay, but at least you got a good story out of it and you can think about it and you can talk about it.
I mean, there were cool moments in it. It's just overall, like Voss, like the bad guy from 3, like his performance, incredible. Like he was, and the thing is, they botched that because they didn't make him the final bad guy. They had some other dude who was the real bad guy, so they botched it. But I had fun going through the game. You know what I mean? Like they had cool, like the psychedelic trip that he went on when he burned the fields. That mission.
Oh yeah, I do remember that one. That was Far Cry is just above Just Cause for me. You know that game?
Yeah,
yeah. Like whenever I'm doing things in Far Cry, it's Just Cause. Like there's missions for sure, but I'm just like, I don't want to go this way and shoot that dude. And I don't know. I was never motivated by the story. I hear what you're saying. There had moments, and not just Far Cry 3. I think it was 4, the one where like it was pretty much you're fighting the KKK. Was it?
No. That's
like the
that's
white
5 you're thinking of. Yeah.
Oh, that's 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I even played that, and that was boring. And I don't know. I haven't, and maybe it's just not for me, but Far Cry has never really held my attention to the point where I want to spend time and dive deep into it, because the stories are just, I mean, like just like you said in 3, it's stupid. Why am I on vacation in this crazy tropical place by myself or with one of the, I don't know. It's one of those, you know.
Yeah, the premise is.
If I may,
Go ahead.
If I may, white people problems.
That's what I was trying not to say, but you know, because I said it last week,
and I only say that because someplace you're not supposed to be because you think it's okay. And then, oh, look, it's the consequences of your actions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's just for 3, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. But even with 4, it was like, okay, you're dropped here, and this oddly charismatic gentleman who just has the ability to just talk his way through anything is having a war between these 2 other people who are trying to do the exact same thing, except one is like anarchy and one is like, we must sustain order. And it's like, just why?
I mean, they tried to address the commentary with like the white savior thing and like the annoying like upper crust kids coming to like these tropical locations in 4. Like that, the main character in that I believe is of Asian descent. He's like related to the bad guy who's like
he
a
is
dictator or whatever, right?
Bad guy. Yep.
And then in 5, they tried to address it by making the player character customizable. Like they're not like you can basically make them whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they may stick to that because they've been doing that in all their games. And Ubisoft tends to follow a formula. Like they're giving you the option to play as a male or a female, or customize your character, or play as anyone in the world in everything they're doing right now. So 6 will probably follow suit.
Be customizable. Yeah.
But I do think that the addition of an actor of the quality of Giancarlo Esposito can give some dramatic weight to the story they're trying to tell. And I think this story is gonna be in the vein of like Narcos, if you guys have watched that.
Yeah,
like, he's a dictator and stuff, mind you. Like he's not just a drug runner. But I think kind of looking at revolution and like a fictional South American country. And then, I don't know, this pull between him and his son, who's kind of more innocent, and him trying to turn him. Like, it reminds me of, like, Pablo Escobar in Narcos and kind of that relationship. And I think that can be interesting.
Ever since Breaking Bad, they just were waiting for him to play this role.
Kinda, yeah.
Wow.
Kinda.
Okay.
True, bro. Like, he's a great villain.
That's what it's from, because I haven't seen Breaking Bad, but I know
Mhm.
enough about it that I know
Mhm.
that actor.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's also in The Mandalorian.
Yes, he's also the big bad in Mandalorian right now. So
dope in The Mandalorian. Yeah.
So is he just like the villain?
yes, he plays a very
He's
good
getting
bad
there.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah, he's in The Boys too. He's
you're
the only
right.
one-
Yes,
He's the only one in The Boys that old boy was afraid of.
yes.
What's
He's-
the main
okay,
dude's name?
Okay, am I just gonna have to
blanking
Google
out, too.
that later? The Boys.
The
Son,
Amazon
oh
show, The
my
Boys. Have you not watched
goodness.
this yet? The Amazon Prime
No.
show, The Boys.
We
No?
need to get you on this. This is
Oh,
one of the
boy.
dopest shows out there right
You need to
now.
watch The
Oh
Boys.
dear.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
We
You
got on
guys,
something.
you guys have given me enough shows. I'm watching Avatar now. I'm trying to get into Star Wars. You're throwing the Mandalorian at me like it's a whole lot.
Before any of that, minus Avatar. After Avatar, if you gotta watch anything, watch The Boys.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a short series too.
Okay.
I'll watch it with you. You already know that, bro. I was
Yeah, I know. Okay.
The Boys is dope.
It's that good. Got it. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah,
just
it's
to
good for
wrap up
today,
the Ubisoft
Yeah, yeah.
stuff, what we haven't seen, Gods and Monsters, if you guys remember that, like the Breath of the Wild kind of
Yeah.
looking thing. Apparently,
Yeah.
apparently, recently that game leaked. A playable demo of it leaked on Stadia, of all places.
What?
So for
Oh,
about
that's why nobody saw it.
for about 30 minutes or so, a couple people played through that game. Like apparently they said it played like a mix of Assassin's Creed and Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
But apparently after that leak, Ubisoft announced, okay, so the game is going through some changes. That was an early build. It's no longer called Gods and Monsters. Like they're going to be changing like the direction of the art style and like, you know, some of the characters and stuff. Like they're going to shape that into something else. So we probably won't see it for a while. And that's probably why we haven't heard anything from it.
It's like, oh, y'all saw our project. We're gonna change it now.
Kinda, yeah. We didn't
that's what
see
we're doing.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 at all.
Uh,
What else didn't they show? They didn't show Skull and Bones, that ship pirate game, which I think that's also going to be changing a lot. So I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff that Ubisoft hasn't. We didn't see that new Rainbow Six game, like Outbreak, I think it's called, or
Oh,
Quarantine.
yeah.
No, Quarantine. Rainbow Six Quarantine. Haven't
is
seen
the
that.
name of it? Jeez.
So they're going to be doing more of these. Hopefully we'll get some of those answers from some of these long dormant series that they announced. But I don't know. Ubisoft has so many like franchises and like new IPs that are in the pipeline. Like you forget about them. Like we
Do
haven't
they
heard
do,
anything about a new Splinter Cell.
I was wondering about Raving Rabbids. They still doing
Yeah, no news about Rabbit stuff either.
what? That is like their go-to on the kid side.
Yeah.
Raving Rabbids. They did a crossover with Super Mario.
Yeah.
The last I heard.
Kingdom Battle.
That was so weird. Mm-hmm.
And apparently that game was good. So
Okay.
that's Ubisoft stuff. Blue, what do you got for us on the console side of things?
Okay. On the console side of things, PS5, Sony news. They're increasing production to 10 million consoles in 2020. They said, look, we know y'all sitting at home. We know y'all gonna buy it. So we're gonna make a bunch more. That's what they're saying. I didn't say
Okay.
it. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's what they're saying. They said that they originally only planned to do between 5 and 6 million copies by the end, or excuse me, by 2021, and now they're kind of they're trying to double that. Now they said one of the difficulties that they have is their factories are in China, and yeah, okay, we know a lot of things are made in China, and COVID is still a thing, and so it's funny reading this IGN article. They said that they put out this goal, 2021, 10 million consoles, right? And they're also saying it might not happen. It might not happen just because of the factory slowdowns and that you're seeing all across the board. So it's just interesting to see Sony take a strong stance and saying, yeah, we're doubling this.
Yeah, because that's kind of a flip from what they were saying earlier on, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're basically saying like there might not be enough consoles to meet demand because of one, the COVID situation, and then because of two, the custom parts and architecture that
the
they were
custom
making.
SSD and everything.
on top of that, they didn't really push back their release date or anything like that. So I don't think not the release date, but they didn't push back their like goal to have this stuff done.
Mhm.
So I don't know how they're gonna double their output during this pandemic and meet this deadline that they're talking about.
I mean, they must know something that we
They gotta
don't.
know something we don't.
Yeah, like something that was a problem has maybe cleared up, and so they were comfortable enough to go out there and say, you know what, we'll have probably about this many, barring any unforeseen circumstances, because you can't predict the future, of course. But I don't know. I mean, that's encouraging for people who want to buy PS5s that they won't be a scarcity.
Because the Nintendo Switch scarcity was rough. You know what I mean?
And that's what I was going to hit on.
Oh,
because, well, no. It's and I'm glad you had said it beforehand, because that kind of helps me lead into this, is that the idea of artificial scarcity. And it's not as if I'm so distrusting of companies, but companies have a goal. Their business is to make money. On the consumer side, typically is to save money. So when I hear, oh, we're going to be doubling sales, my idea is, okay, that means you must be doubling whatever effort you are doing for that, which means you need more of something. But what if the idea is that I was already working at 50% and then I doubled that, and now I'm working at 100%?
I mean, that could actually be the case.
Before.
Like, that's what and I'm not saying that, oh, they're like some shisty people, but
yeah, like I feel like it could have been the case because of the situation of the world. Like, they had to slow down, they had to spread people out because of COVID, so maybe that's why they were at 50%, and maybe things have kind of eased up a little bit, and they can
increase it now.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh my God, we've bought double the supplies.
Mm-hmm.
It's no, we were working at 50%.
We're working.
Before.
Perhaps, yeah.
Now we're working at full capacity. We'll definitely get these things out to you. That's kind of what.
So
I
you're
feel.
saying that the 10 mil was their original plan?
Yeah,
probably. That makes a lot of sense.
That's what I believe, and I believe that because of the pandemic, you want to have your numbers be low. That way, if you go above them, it's like, oh my goodness. Well, more so, look what this company did during the pandemic versus you gave this number and you were below it. You're gonna look completely different. So set it low, and then look what you did. That's just kind of how I feel about that,
mm-hmm.
and that's only because we're not in the factories or anything like that. We're only given this piece of news, but even on the company standpoint, they're only going to tell you what they want you to know. And I don't believe that they just somehow magically came up with double whatever it is that they need without pushing back any deadlines or anything.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing about this is that they're doubling up and there's no major shift in their timeline. And I think that that kind of makes sense to your theory that they already had the capability. They just decided to turn it on. Now, hopefully, people don't die in these factories because of COVID and social distancing. Hopefully, they're going to be okay.
Yeah, they're being responsible with whatever they're doing in their production.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully, there's no child labor or anything like that out there. But
wow. Okay.
I mean, it's not unheard of.
You're right.
Especially on that side of the world with electronics.
But speaking of electronics,
Gamer,
what do you got for us on the other side of this console war?
All right. So on the other side of things, we have the X-boners going against the Sony ponies. And of course, we had to have some discontinues because we're going to have something new coming out. That means we're going to have to stop making the old stuff. And when I say the old stuff, I mean Xbox One X and Xbox One S.
But
if you were
digital.
Yes, I'm sorry, the S digital. If you were to look on the Microsoft Store, Best Buy, Amazon, any retailer, it will be discontinued.
Yep.
And I have to say, it's kind of interesting in this Verve article. Now, what it says, the article states, as we ramp into the future with the Xbox Series X, we are taking the natural step of stopping production of Xbox One X and Xbox One S all digital versions. Xbox One S will continue to be manufactured and sold globally. Now, I find it kind of interesting. Under what circumstances would you, first of all, let your customers know that you're going to be doing planned obsolescence? Because that's the first thing I thought of here. Because you're going to be discontinuing this, which means that perhaps you have technology that could be run on this older, cheaper system, and you don't want that anymore. So you're going to completely get rid of it, not even make it available on the stores. Fine. But then and I think Blue and I had maybe spoken briefly about it, but you also can't get the 12-month subscription on Gold anymore, which I think is kind of odd to me that they would just completely remove that option. But
I feel like
then
all of this actually makes perfect sense.
Please illuminate.
It's a setup, bro.
Well, okay, I know it's a setup, but I know this is a setup.
Like
to the services.
I know that when it seems like there's stuff that you can have that a company's taking away so that you can't have it, that seems like a bad thing. But in this instance, it kind of just makes sense. Microsoft, at present, has 3 iterations of the Xbox One on the market. And by the end of this year, they'll be introducing a new one. So,
which means they're going to take away an old one.
So, but get this: 3 of them are the same console. You have the Xbox One X, the Xbox One S, and the Xbox One S all digital, right?
Yep.
3 different consoles, same generation. If by the end of this year they release the Series X, which they have told everyone, all the games that release on Xbox will be playable on all your Xbox consoles. If you walk into the store and you want to buy the an Xbox to play the new Halo game, you would have 4 options as opposed to 2. And you only need the 2. You need the previous generation in case you don't want to pay full price, and you need the new one in case that's what you're looking for.
The cheaper option is already in our homes right now.
Yeah, for us, sure. Yeah. So it just makes sense, to kind of declutter the market for this new console launch. But in the vein of Xbox Live Gold, we've been beating this horn for like a year now. Game Pass is the best deal in video games. There are a lot of people who still only have Xbox Live Gold because they don't really fully understand what Game Pass is even.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're saying, is this to force them into the game? Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. And not even just Game Pass, not regular Game Pass either. Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah. Game Pass.
They're trying to get you everywhere, and that's...
because Game Pass
that's
Ultimate...
their whole creed right now.
Yeah, Game Pass Ultimate is your gold subscription, and it's Game Pass, and you get the PC stuff added to that. The only difference is, instead of getting to pay for that for a year up front, you pay it per month. And so that doesn't sit well with some people. It's $15 per month for that package, which I believe is, like $100? $100 for the month, or $120? I don't know. I'm bad at math. Like the 15,
Wait,
15 times 12. Somebody, real quick.
Oh. It's 180.
It's 180.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I just did it in my head. Let me see.
15 times 12?
Yeah, this shouldn't take this long. We apologize.
180.
180, yeah. I got it.
It is 180.
It's 180. Okay.
Yeah.
So, whereas if you were paying the 60 for just the gold and then paying the 10 for Game Pass, that breaks out to something similar or very close.
Mm-hmm.
So and again, check my math if you need to, but this version is cheaper. And you get the benefits of the services, which Microsoft is basically betting all their money this generation on services. They need 100%. You to be there on the services because they're downplaying the console stuff, and that kind of brings us into the next point of the next topic. So
I was already there.
Yeah, Gamer, go ahead and introduce that one.
Because it turns out that Phil Spencer believes that exclusivity is completely counter to what gaming is truly about. And he had a few choice words. As a player, you are the center of our strategy. Our device is not the center of our strategy. Our game is not the center of the strategy. We want to enable you to play the games you want to play with the friends you want to play on any device. Anybody remember 5 or more years ago? This was definitely not what they were saying.
Yeah. That's
Like,
it's kind of the opposite.
where
They centered the console as the center of your experience.
Where it's like game sharing. What's that? Then Sony comes out. This is how you game share.
Yeah, it was like Microsoft basically gave them the layup for Sony to slam dunk, and they're still recovering from that. Like, honestly, on like a macro level, I 100% agree with Phil Spencer's sentiment that exclusivity is bad for gamers in general, for consumers. Exclusivity sucks. You know what I mean?
It's another name for monopoly.
It is.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But we've all seen that quality exclusives, sell consoles. They put you in the lead in this fight against other, players in this game market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
When you're the side that's losing that war, it's very easy to try and downplay the importance of exclusivity. You know what I mean?
I think more specifically, it's reframing the issue. It's like our weakness is not a weakness; it's actually our strength,
right?
Because we are so spread out and we don't have any exclusives. You could play our stuff anywhere instead of being locked down to one measly piece of plastic, playing one game. You can play it on your phone. You can play it on any system you want.
But you see, that's the thing, though, and this I think that's kind of the biggest difference is that they're actually backing up this services claim. You know what I mean?
That's
and
very true.
You can play anywhere claim. That they're actually backing up. They're not just talking about it; they're walking about it too. So, not saying that they didn't double back on what they said, but what they're saying today, they're talking it and they're walking it as well. So, I'll give them that credit. Because
you're absolutely right.
I got a couple of friends who have the only console in their house is a PlayStation 4, and then they have a PC that they'll use for Game Pass Ultimate. I play Forza with some of my friends that are typically Sony ponies, as gamers like to say, and it's the services that they're selling, and then that's what it comes down to, and that's what is working right now. So if they can, just like you were saying earlier, Sigma, if they can really lean into this and make this their slam dunk, they're gonna have a successful console or a successful season.
And I want to mention something else, because this is what Microsoft is doing in the gaming side of things. But there's also a lot of things that Microsoft is doing on the hardware and cloud side of things. Well,
the Project xCloud stuff, right?
Yes, that has been just growing significantly, and the hardware on what you can do with the Surface nowadays has significantly improved. I would not be surprised if Microsoft tries to come out with a gaming Surface, a Surface that will be designed to handle your typical AAA title.
Well, you talking about like a tablet?
Yes.
Like the Wii U?
Like a mobile console?
Like the Wii U?
No, not like the Wii U. I'm talking, think of the Alienware laptop you own. Think about how powerful, think about how powerful that tablet, think about how powerful that device is.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And how you could take that device anywhere, right?
Yeah.
What if it had the same portability and function as a Surface as well? It could. It can very well be an all-in-one. Microsoft wants you to use them for everything. Oh
yeah.
Google is
trying. That's their exclusivity.
Yeah, Google is trying, but Google is not where Microsoft is as far as its cloud infrastructure. And don't get me wrong, Google is huge, but Microsoft has been doing this a very long time. They already have many people's hooks. And more specifically, they have many corporate hooks in people. So they have that corporate money that Sony and Nintendo don't have. So I believe that they have a lot of eggs in many baskets. And this is just This is just one hand that they're showing, which is basically, oh, you think that that's our weakness? No, that's actually what we're going for. We're spreading out like this because we want you to play this everywhere. Because do you know who else also has something you can play almost everywhere? Nintendo.
I mean, it is their cloud streaming service is an answer to Nintendo's portability, which is something that has eluded Microsoft especially, and Sony to a lesser extent, because Sony has produced portable consoles. They just haven't sold anywhere near as well as Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
So,
no, not at all.
So
I thought we were about to start talking about the Windows Phone.
No, let's pretend it doesn't exist.
But like Blue was saying, them having the services to kind of counteract the fact that, well, this is where our focus is. This is important to us. This over here, and look how good it is viable. You know what I mean? Like the streaming stuff is gonna be rolled into Game Pass Ultimate eventually. Like that's the word on the street. Like it's not gonna be a different service that you pay for. It's gonna be part of your Ultimate, which that's a big deal.
Oh yeah,
that's a big deal. That literally turns your Surface or your phone or whatever into that mobile device at no additional cost. All you do is download the app and you just get access to the things you're already playing for. Like that's a big deal.
Like the fact that me as the consumer, I have almost no extra steps to go through. I don't have to do anything extra for this. Oh, cool. Nothing changes. I'm a human being. I hate change. That's great. But okay, let me ask you two. Where are you right now? If you are given the money to buy the console you wanted to right now, Xbox Series X or PS5?
PS5.
Yeah, to be honest, I would buy a PS5 right now.
I'd definitely buy a PS5.
It just makes the most sense.
Only because, for the exact point that we're making right now, all the games that I want to play on the Xbox, I can play right here on my Xbox One.
You will have access to it on your PC or your Xbox One. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And the fact that that's what you two chose worries me. Because I see what Microsoft is trying to do, but is it working for their benefit?
Well, here's the thing. Let's define their benefit then, right?
Yeah, because you're talking about either console sales or people
or ecosystem
for their
yes.
Their services.
Because even though I'm buying a PlayStation 5, if given the choice that you gave me, I'm still very much in the Microsoft ecosystem. I plan very much to play all of the games that they're going to be releasing on their Game Pass service and whatnot. I'm going to be playing on my Xbox, just not the Xbox Series X, at least not right away, you know? But I will say, Xbox is not even out of the game yet in terms of that exclusivity war. Because even though their focus is on the services, which we've seen proof of, the only thing we haven't seen a proof of is the thing that they've been hounded about the whole time, which is exclusivity. But there are the roots there. Like, people keep forgetting that they bought all these first-party studios. Their next conference, which is this month in July, is supposed to focus on their first-party games. Halo Infinite is going to be the big one that we've been waiting to see. But all those other studios are going to start showing the stuff that they've been working on. And if they excite and delight folks in the way some of the Sony stuff has, and to be fair, Sony has that track record, that history. They have very big franchises that have good names. Like most of the big stuff that hit when they showed their exclusives were sequels, which are always going to be bigger than the first game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So Microsoft is still going to be playing catch up in that regard. But if these games are quality when they actually release and people like them, they're right back in there, toe to toe. You know what I mean? And then they have the added benefit of the services, which Sony is not on par with at all.
Not one bit. Not an iota. Not at all.
So like, while I am super excited for the Sony exclusives that are going to be coming out, like, I'm way more excited for what Microsoft is doing in just terms of the gaming ecosystem in general. Like, what they're going to let me do as a gamer excites me way more than what Sony has on hand.
Exactly, and I definitely agree. At the end of the day, while I would pick up the PS5, I'm probably still going to be playing my Xbox a lot more.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it kind of goes back to this whole paradigm shift that a lot of people, I think a lot of people are kind of stuck in the past and think that console sales makes the what would you even call it? Makes the gaming experience. What was that?
I was gonna say makes the success of your experience. Like the console itself is the thing that will make the game good or bad.
Exactly, or not just the game, but the gaming experience, right? Because this is what we all want. We want a good gaming experience. So you can get the exclusives on the PS5, or you can get the services. It's gonna be a lot more people on this in general. I think in Xbox services, only because I feel like it's easier. It's easier to access that.
Yeah, it's simple.
If you have a PC. If you have a PC and you got $15 a month, you're linked into all the hardcore gaming that all of us do.
And if you don't have a PC and you don't have any previous console, Game Pass kind of makes the case because you just get access to so much more content. And granted, the content at this point in time can be seen as, difference in quality depending on what you like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know, like hundreds and hundreds of games at your fingertips for just signing up for Game Pass Ultimate. Once you buy this console, you can play everything that Microsoft releases from that point forward because you have Game Pass. That's a deal that Sony does not match in any respect.
Now, right now, PlayStation has PlayStation Now, which is their version of Game Pass. And I was looking through it because I was thinking about picking it up. My homeboy was telling me about it. There are some good things on there. But it's not enough for me to spend. Well, I think I saw most of the Ratchet and Clanks on there. I'm not gonna lie, and then I saw some Sly Coopers. I saw. Anyway, first of all, the website is very difficult to get through for the list of games. If y'all ever looked it up, let me.
Well, I've talked many times. Just like the app for PlayStation, the website, the store. It's so unintuitive. Why are you making it so hard for me to spend my money here?
We don't need to turn this into a bashing Sony topic because that's not what we're here for.
No, let's keep going.
Because God knows we've had our problems just trying to connect to
Xbox Party.
Yeah, I do hope there are UI changes across the board when PS5 comes out.
That'd be great.
But
yeah,
I think that's gonna do it for this latest event in the console wars. But Snick360 once again coming through with the questions. If you guys want to send us questions, you can at BBETGaming@gmail.com. Please send us questions about whatever. They can be gaming related, they can be personality related. We'll look at them, we'll read them, we'll answer them. We really appreciate Snick360 for always coming through with questions. This week he asks, what is your relationship with time? Does it work in your favor or does it work against you? Interesting.
Okay. My first thought when I read the first question, what is your relationship with time, right? As you guys know, I'm in film school. I'm doing a lot of writing right now, and I'm thinking about time travel. That was the first thing I thought about, and we had talked about it a couple weeks back. But there's when it comes to a relationship with time, I don't think I really have a relationship. Time just be doing its own thing, and I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, and that is my relationship. Time is there. It's pushing forward, and I just got to do what I can. I hate to be that general, but I think it is that simple.
Like you feel like you don't have a relationship with it. It's its own entity.
It's its own entity that's affecting me. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I guess I would probably be the opposite of you then.
Okay.
Because like what I take away from a question like what's your relationship with time is like, okay, so how do I interact with time on like a regular basis, right? And in my life, I feel that I never really have enough of it. Like there's all these things that I want to get done or want to experience either for work or for fun, or like I just want to rest. So it's like everything is kind of spaced out. Like, okay, I can do this for the next couple hours. I can, take a nap for like 30 minutes, or I need to beat this game. It would help if it wrapped up within 6 hours, or you know what I mean?
Oh, I hate that specifically. The last part you said. Having to beat a game on a timer is the worst.
I love that.
I hate that. No, if you're doing speed runs, that's a different thing, right? But if you like, I got to do a review or I need to finish this before I go out and do something else, it just takes away from the experience. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
No.
But that last part really hit me, bro.
Yeah, the like the fact that I have to play so many games kind of just for what I do really puts that in perspective. It's like sometimes we'll get a list of options for the review team, like, oh, who's interested in this, who's interested in that, and it'll be like, you know what, I am very interested in that as a game, but I know for a fact this kind of game will take a lot less time, and that may be way more valuable to me than this other thing, which might be a better gaming experience. So
yeah.
I don't know, just in general, I do try to control time because there's a limited amount and there's so much that I want to do, and then it like my girlfriend Kia will attest to this. When gray hairs pop up like in my beard or on the side of my face, like I freak out because it's like it's time telling me that I don't have that much. I don't have that much left.
Got a little spritz of time fall on.
Yeah, this like look, like this look, you don't have that much time. You better get on it. Look, check it out. You're dying.
It's funny you say dying, and I think ripening. Like I'm getting into another state of enlightenment. I've got a couple grades. I got a couple grades that I've pulled out, or my girl laughs at me. But it's all like, yeah, I'm getting up there. I'm getting to that next level. That's how I feel.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I take it as like the warning music in Super Mario. It's like,
oh,
like
no.
pick up the pace, bro.
Mr. Gamer, what's your relationship with time, and how does it affect you?
So, first of all, I have a very close relationship with time because I am significantly obsessive. I have spreadsheets about Overwatch characters when I'm practicing. Like it's that sort of level, and I always think of it as how much time does this normally take me and the amount of time that I have left. For example, I know, depending on the daily challenges that are presented to me in Fallout 76, I can either do it for 15 minutes, or do it for 30 minutes, do it for 45 minutes, or do it for an hour. That's that is how I break up time for things. It's like, oh my goodness, I have to do the dishes and I really don't want to, but it's only going to take like a quarter. All right, fine. And that's how I'll psychologically trick myself into going to do whatever it is that I need to do. Or, oh, hey, can you come by for whatever? It's like, get dressed, still have laundry, and then I got dishes, then I get the car,
itemize everything.
It's like, yeah, no, I won't be able to do that. Like, I'll plan it out in my head and I'll be like, yeah, no, I won't be able to do that. But I can pencil you in for blah, 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 where I can give you that exact amount of time. And that's now now, does it work in my favor or against you? Typically, it works against me because in my head, when something is over, it's over. But it's not over with everyone else involved. So, for example, we're all doing something. We're all like hanging out at a party, 9:30. Okay, boom. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to sleep. I'm ready to go do whatever. This has now ended. But it hasn't ended for everybody else. But I'm able to just detach myself like that and be like, oh, yeah, what? Oh, yep, ready to go.
Yo, for real. He'd be in the middle of a game with us or something like that. We all talking and stuff. And then all of a sudden he's on another game. And he's like, wait, what happened?
Okay, it happened once.
What happened? No, it was not once. You stop lying on this podcast, sir. This was not once. This has happened multiple times.
I only remember that happening.
That's the last time I called you out.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's more than once too. To be honest,
definitely.
Like, I couldn't pinpoint when, but I do think it's happened more than once.
Okay, so I will admit there was a moment where I was in a party with some people, Blue in present company, and I forgot what game we were playing. An alarm went off on my phone. And to be fair, I do have bots running throughout my home network. So Overwatch popped up and I started going through my loot boxes. Everybody had saw that I was quiet. Oh, hey, gamer, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just looking through my loot boxes. Loot boxes on what? Overwatch. You're playing Overwatch? Well, it just popped up on my...
While we all playing another game, make sure you tell the people that.
Yeah, we were in Borderlands 3, I believe. And like we were all in like separate parties. Gamer, I believe, was in Blue's party because they were doing something specific. Like they were like in the middle of a mission. And also, he just wasn't
I don't
there
remember
anymore.
that. I don't remember that. I don't. So I hope that answers your question, Snicks. Yeah. Do I have a close relationship with time? It typically works against me because of how I compartmentalize things.
You guys brought up some things that reminded me. I will say I do a lot of counting in my head. So when you're talking about like time of the day, that's another time. But I do a lot of counting in my head when it comes to my games, especially you mentioned Overwatch, cooldowns, Final Fantasy 14, all that stuff. I'm almost always counting it in my head, and that's helped my gameplay ridiculously. I don't like, while there's always, or 99% of the time, an on-screen prompt for cooldowns, I like knowing that number and just counting it down in my head.
Just
that way I just
it.
Got
That makes sense.
That a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for that question again, Snicks360. That's gonna do it for episode 55 of the BBET GamesCast. Gamer, where can people find you if they're looking for you on the internet?
If you can find me at startbuttonreview.com. You can find me at SBRMRGAMER on almost all social media platforms and toilets that are compatible with Skyrim, except on Twitch and Instagram and Twitter. There is not Twitter. There is an underscore, because I was going to say Mixer, but Mixer's dead now. On underscore between SBR and Mr. Gamer. Nice. And also I have a podcast, SBR Reports.
That's what's up.
Check it out. Blue, where can people find you?
It's your boy, Blue Bones, BLUB0NES. That's exactly how you spell it. Wherever you're looking, you'll find me right there. Definitely hit up our Twitch, BBETGaming. Hit up our Facebook. You know what's funny? And I was going to mention this too. You said Mixer is dying. We got an email from Mixer the other day saying originally they're like, oh yeah, everybody go to Facebook, it's gonna be so great, and then the latest Mixer email was like, yeah, we're closing down, go check out Twitch. And I was like, wait, what? Like, who signed y'all on?
What?
Mixer was telling people to go to Twitch.
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, because they announced in the press release on their own Twitter,
I read it like 4
that
we're
teaming up with Facebook Gaming.
Yes.
That is nonsense.
And they said the Xbox Ambassador crew is gonna be on Twitch too. Isn't that crazy?
Wait. What?
The Xbox Ambassador is having their own Twitch channel. Anyway.
Okay.
Don't look for them. Look for BBET Gaming on Twitch. Look for us on YouTube. Look for us on Facebook. And see all our shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get back on the Sims game. I was debating whether to go like do that dirty sim thing or not, and that's why it's been so long. But that's not even important. Mr. Sigma Gears 9, where can people find you?
You can find me on pretty much all social media as Sigma Gears 9. You can find me on Facebook as Sigma and Sun. You can find my 3-minute reviews, opinion pieces, live streams, Escapist live streams on escapist.com and their YouTube channel. I should have a new review for a game that I could not talk about on this podcast pop up probably within the week after this podcast launches on Tuesday. So check that out. Should be interesting.
Got you.
But other than that, want to thank everyone for listening and watching. Want to thank my 2 co-hosts. Jeff will be back with us in the future. That's going to do it for this episode. Peace.
Adios.
Picture me riding and rolling with models. Brand new Ferraris like we was winning the lotto. And that's all those fathers with me. Pouring the bottle, playing that ONG music that's gonna blow like Chicago. Carry